Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Lifting up his eyes to heaven, Jesus prayed, saying, Holy Father, keep them in your name that you have given me, so that they may be one just as we are one. When I was with them, I protected them in your name that you gave me, and I guarded them, and none of them was lost, except the son of destruction, in order that the scripture might be fulfilled. But now I am coming to you. I speak this in the world, so that they may share my joy completely. I gave them your word, and the world hated them, because they do not belong to the world any more than I belong to the world. I do not ask that you take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the evil one. They do not belong to the world any more than I belong to the world. I consecrate them in the truth. Your word is truth. As you sent me into the world, so I send them into the world. And I consecrate myself for them, so that they also may be consecrated in truth. My sisters and brothers, the gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
A while back, I did a retreat, may do it again here in this area, on the spirituality of aging. Obviously, however, whatever age any of us here, we are aging. And there's been a lot more writing, including prayerful reflection on moving toward the last phase of our life, whatever age that might be. But recognizing that too often in the past, maybe the thought of aging was just going downhill, or aging was just sitting in your rocker, or aging was just watching old reruns of I Love Lucy, I don't know, whatever, all of that. But the reality is, the emphasis today, especially in our faith, is to never lose that sense of purpose, to have that dynamism of the gospel. At any age, we can give witness to the Lord, even in our frailty, even in our loss of memory, even in whatever may be diminishing us, that in the midst of all of that, we can still proclaim God. And especially because I think as we grow, aging is not about getting preoccupied with ourselves. Obviously, we need to take care of ourselves and so forth. But even in the aging process, it's to give oneself away, still to be concerned with what I do for others. I remember another number of people I have visited in hospice, and people have told me that a couple different situations recently, they said, you know, this fella in hospice, he's dying, and yet he's a beautiful witness to all the rest of us here of faith, of goodness, of kindness, of gratitude, even while he's dying. That can be another time of witness. I bring that up because, again, in this last week of the Easter season, in the Acts of the Apostles and in the Gospel, we see kind of the last phase of St. Paul's life and of Jesus' life, and how each of them are still giving it away, not preoccupied with what's happening to them, but finding one more opportunity to proclaim the Lord. And we see that in that first reading over and over, that wherever Paul goes, and knowing that he's at that stage where, not sure exactly what the future held, he was older anyway, but he knew he was being plotted against and persecuted, and we see that that he still speaks in every way, as it says, in every way I've shown you that by hard work of that sort we must help the weak. We must keep in mind the words of the Lord, who said it is more blessed to give than to receive. And then just the power of relationship there, as we know. When he had finished speaking, he knelt down and prayed. They were all weeping loudly as they threw their arms around Paul and kissed him. They were distressed that he had said that they would never see his face again. But then they escorted him to the ship. To have those kind of relationships in our life, you know, as people of faith, not only a deep love for the Lord, but hopefully through the Lord, a deep affection for one another. You know, we're trying to emphasize more and more that Catholic Church on Sunday morning shouldn't just be everybody occupying their own pew and having nothing to do with each other. When we're centered in the Lord, that calls us to outreach to one another, to lift each other up, and again, out in the daily world to do our part, because a lot of people out there, young and old, don't have that meaning, that purpose, that foundation, that guidance that can come from the Lord to help us when we're young and to help us when we're old and to get us out of ourselves. Finally, in this part of the Gospel of John, to realize this is the prayer for his disciples, which includes us, and here again, that whole thing, if they don't belong to the world, the word world in John's gospel has two meanings. One, God so loved the world, the goodness of the world. The other, though, is the corruption of the world or the sin of the world. That's how he means it here. And praying to consecrate us in truth, to live the truth of the gospel. And he sends us into the world, and that he consecrates himself to us, and we are called to be consecrated in the truth and the love of God and bring that to our world around us every day, no matter what our age or what our circumstance, to see it as one more opportunity to show a little more of God's goodness and love. So, we got a day today. Each day is the day of our life. And just what can you do, what can I do on this day, being prayerfully open to the Lord, being consecrated in truth, and looking to the day as not something, whatever the reason, that we can be negative about, but another wonderful opportunity to live and share the gospel by our lives and by our prayer. Take a moment. God bless you.